Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze. I am your host, Professor Jeremy Vilmer, and joining us now, Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, Double B, Bobby Blaze.
Hey, man, it's me, Double B. I guess we're going to ride that out as long as we can, Jeremy.
I'm telling you, so I get a cease and desist. We're using it.
That's right, man. Double A's favorite enhancement talent, Bobby Blaze. It's a pleasure to be back on the program. We got a special guest with us this week. We were having some technical difficulties. Hopefully we have that all cleared up by now. I know we got a couple of things of some house cleaning we have to do, Jeremy, but I'm going to go ahead and bring on our guest if you don't mind.
Sure thing.
I know her as Paige. She's a real sweetheart of a girl. I think the world of this girl. She's black. Dayla, I always pronounce that fucked up. Anyway, Paige, welcome to the show. She is the chainsaw queen of pro wrestling, and I've noticed several things here that she's trained under Funaki and also Rikishi, but I saw this young girl when she was just out managing and encouraged her to get her ass to the ring and train. So listen here, chainsaw queen, speak up for me. Let me hear your voice, or you're out there somewhere.
Hello, guys. Hey, Bobby. Thanks for the introduction. That is right. You are the OG when it comes to getting me involved with the business. So thanks for having me on. How are you guys?
Good. How's things in your world?
Good. Just sitting outside of the gym waiting to go get my pump on.
All right. Now, the other voice on the line is the great professor, Jeremy Vilmer. So I'm sure he has some chainsaw questions for you. Won't you just bring us up to date to what's going on? I know you have made a from the time I met you, your trip has been very, very out there, man. I know you've went to San Antonio and L.A. and Cincinnati. Just kind of fill people in a little bit about your trip into professional wrestling, how you became involved in it way back when, and then also some of the, just kind of fill us in a little bit of story and catch us up to where you're at right now.
Right. Well, it's a 10-year-long story. I'll try to make it short and sweet for you guys so you can ask me more questions. But basically, fresh out of high school, I was just a theater kid, and I was going to a local community college in Kentucky at the time, and I got involved with wrestling, and I was just a valet and manager. It was just something to put on my acting resume. I didn't know much about the business. Fast forward to from 11 to 15, I just kind of dicked around, and I didn't take wrestling too seriously. Wasn't trying to get booked. Was just having fun with it and not taking it too seriously. And then I came across this gentleman named Bobby Blaze, and he basically shot it to me straight and said that I need to take it seriously. Like, I need to do something with the business because I could possibly make a career out of it. And I was like, crap, like, what do you mean? And he's like, you need to be a wrestler. So I don't know if you remember this, Bobby, but I met up with you and you had some guys set up a ring for us, and it was in the backyard. Mm-hmm. It was out in the open, in the environment, in someone's yard, and you were the first person to lock up with me. And I kid you not, I don't know if you remember this detail, but it started raining on us, and we just kept on going. Like my first experience in a wrestling ring after being in the business for almost 5 years to properly actually start training was outside in a wrestling ring in the rain, locking up with Bobby Blaze. And he's like,
I got to interject and ask a question here. Bobby, were you teaching her the heel lockup?
No.
What's that?
Well, we had a guy said he'd been wrestling, trained under the original Crusher, and he said there was a heel lockup, and of course there's no such thing as a heel lockup. Thus you're asking, what's that? That's Jeremy's comeback for that too, because he asked me.
Okay.
I do remember that, and people that know me know I am very select who I lock up with when I'm helping someone or train someone. I have to get a real good feel for that person because I don't trust them with my neck because my neck has been underneath the knife before. So Yeah, but I do remember that. I do recall that. And I'll let you know, just giving a shout out to AOG, the Art of Grappling. We do have a school now, Paige, and it's going quite well. And we would love to have you back sometime to come in and train with us again, that you'll grace us with your presence back in the ring. But anyway, yes, I do remember that. I started writing, and we had the old tarp on there. It started getting real slick, real quick.
Learning how to lock up, learning a headlock, and even somewhat running the ropes in that slippery ring. And we just did it. We did it for like a couple hours, and it was just so fun.
Well, you took to it like a duck to water, honey. What can I say? You know, you started running the ropes. You did good in a slick ring. So. Yeah.
So after that, you just told me, dude, get out of Kentucky, because you knew my situation. I was homeless for the first time. You're like, get the F out of here and do something with yourself. And I was homeless at the time. I was sleeping in my vehicle. For the 2 times I've been homeless, I had a night shift shoot job. So every time I was homeless, sleeping in my vehicle, I had to sleep in the vehicle during the daytime. And you knew how bad my situation was. And you're like, just go, like, get out and go and get properly trained and do this. So I was blessed enough to go to San Antonio, Texas, and I linked up with Funaki, and I trained under Funaki for 4 to 6 months. It was roughly around that time because I was dealing with my apartment situation. So when I trained under Funaki, he taught me the basics. He was literally the type of guy that wanted to be there. If he wasn't off with WWE, he was there Monday through Saturday. It was 6 days of training. And so what I would do, my shoot job at the time was Walmart, and I would work night shift at Walmart, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then I'd go to Planet Fitness at 7 a.m. when I got off work, worked out, showered, and his class normally would start like at 10 a.m. So that was plenty of time to get a good workout in. So then I would go and do like a 3-hour class, and his setup was like in this dojo. His dojo was like at this CrossFit gym where there was no air conditioning, and literally the ring was set up in a corner next to what is it called, a garage door. So if it got too hot, we opened up the garage door. But it's San Antonio, Texas. The heat is unreal. So I'm literally going off of working at Walmart, which is manual labor job. I'm literally unloading semi trucks, stocking freight, to getting a quick pump on in the gym, to being in this garage training under Funaki. And then after that, I would go home and die. And I would do that 6 days. I would literally do that for 6 days out of the week, as long as Funaki was there, you know, not off doing a work with WWE. And then just so happens it was 2016 at this time, and WrestleMania was in Dallas, Texas. So I got on an indie show right there, literally in the apartment of, excuse me. A side note. I'm in my vehicle right now, and I have the windows down, and this big ass bumblebee just came in, and I literally just about shit my panties. Oh my God. I got so distracted. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die, but I can't be unprofessional. Do I scream? So it's
You're the scream queen. Scream anytime you want.
I literally just got attacked by a big bumblebee. Anyway, so I took all of my rent money for my apartment and went up to Dallas, Texas for this indie show. It was like a 4-hour drive from San Antonio. And it just so happens the show I was linked up to was called Territory League, and it was Rikishi. And we literally were in, like, there's WrestleMania, the building that they were in, and there's the parking lot. And in the parking lot, there's a small-ass building, and that was the show I was on. And I met Rikishi, and he told me about his school in LA and gave me, he said, come out there and train with us. So I was like, okay, you can't say no to a WWE Hall of Famer. Like, yes, sir. Yes, take my money. So I spent the rest of 16. I left Texas, saved a little money. And then by the end of 16, I went and started training under Rikishi. I did that for 7 months. And the difference with my experience with Rikishi, I had no friends, no family, no one at both places, in Texas and in LA. But I literally slept out of my vehicle for 7 months in the daytime with a shitty ass vehicle that had no air conditioning in it. So I would crack my windows because I was scared I was going to get mugged out there. So I would work night shift at Walmart, sit in an hour worth of traffic in LA to get to Planet Fitness, work out at Planet Fitness, shower at Planet Fitness, get in the parking lot and sleep in my vehicle in the hot sun. And then Rikishi had class 3 days a week, and I would go into class. His class would start like at 6 in the evening, and you had to clean up the school beforehand. So I would get to class like before everyone else, and I would do all the chores like bleaching the mat and stuff and cleaning the toilets, and I would do all the chores. Like, all the students were supposed to do one thing, and I would just do all of them by myself so I could wrestle. I was like, guys, listen, I'm here to wrestle, so you guys are dragging
Talk
ass
about paying your dues.
Oh, dude, I'm not even trying to gas myself up and say I'm a badass, but I literally wanted to wrestle, and all these kids would get to school late. Like, say class started at 6, you're supposed to get there at 5:30 to clean up the school, and no one would get there until 6:15. And I'm just like, guys, let's bleach these mats, and I would do all the chores. Nate and I would do all the chores before the other kids would get there, and then we'd start class. And literally so I got like maybe 2-3 hours of sleep in my hot vehicle, and then I would wrestle from 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9. Well, I have to be at Walmart at 10 to go on night shift. So I would literally leave wrestling and go work at Walmart all night. And that's what I did for 7 months. And I don't regret it. It was amazing, but I ended up getting injured. So that's my history. That's my story. That's what I did. And if I'm going to toot my own horn, when I was in LA, they wanted me to do the school shows. You sign a contract that you're not allowed to take indie bookings, and you're just supposed to do the school shows. I told them I don't even want to do the school shows. I would show up, set up for their shows, and then I would leave and go work at Walmart instead of doing their shows, because I'm like, I'm here to train. I'm not here to play indie superstar. And whether that was respected or not, I did that.
So, and you've also, so we'll talk about your injury in just a second, because I know a little bit about, some of that, but let's go back to, because I know Jeremy, the professor, are chomping at the bit. So when I met you, and you're this beautiful girl, guys, if you haven't seen her, check her at black_Dala47 on Twitter. I'm sure she has Facebook and Instagram as well. I'll let her give those out in just a second, but she's very beautiful, and she wore all black at the time. And had these kick-ass boots, and she's got this tiny little waist, and just knockout, okay? So you've went from that to now you're the, which I've heard you scream before at the shows I had seen you on when you was just valeting for Nate when he was the rock star. So fast forward, now you've got this whole chainsaw gimmick going on. Smarten us up to that. Then we'll come back to some injuries and fill in some other things, because I know Jeremy has some questions about this whole chainsaw deal. So go ahead from there, you guys.
Okay. Do you want me to just talk about my gimmick now?
You and Jeremy talk amongst yourselves. I'm curious myself, how you went from this to that.
So basically in 2011, I took wrestling, as much as I didn't want to get booked and take it too seriously, I wanted my gimmick to be serious. I wanted it to be more than boobs and butt, if you will, because during the time period, it was all about breast implants and just, I was an actor and I wanted to be taken seriously. So I came up with the gimmick, the Black Dahlia. And I think only one other person has tried to do the gimmick after me, but like in England, but I was the first and only Black Dahlia. I love the gimmick. I love the character, and now I've added to it. So when I was with Rikishi's all about gimmicks, and it was the December of 16 when I came up with the Chainsaw Queen gimmick. And basically Rikishi wanted me to do a Native American gimmick, and I'm like, listen, I'm not full-blooded, like I don't feel comfortable doing that, and they were going to put a Native American gimmick on me out there, and I was like, listen, I don't want to do that. So I wanted to keep the Black Dahlia gimmick, but I wanted to add a spin-off to it. And I pitched the idea to Rikishi about the Chainsaw Queen, and we kind of went with it, and then I ended up getting injured, so etc. So basically Nathaniel and I, instead of him doing a rock star gimmick and me doing Miss Hollywood, the Black Dahlia, I'm still doing my Black Dahlia gimmick because she's a murder victim, but he's doing like a Killbilly gimmick, and basically we're urban legend slayers, something that's never been done before in the wrestling business. There's been people that have carried chainsaws. There's been people who have done Ed Gein gimmicks, which Ed Gein inspired the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and a lot of people have done the Texas Chainsaw Massacre gimmick themselves, especially over in Japan. So all this has been done before, but not urban legend slayers. So basically, we're like an Ed Gein. We're like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre but we have our own spin to it, and we kill serial killers, we kill aliens, Bigfoot, extraterrestrials, like you name it. Another cryptid we're going to be doing is the Mothman. Like it's basically we're urban legends ourselves, and we're killing and slaying urban legends and wearing their flesh. So it's a really badass, cool gimmick that Nathaniel and I came up with when we were in LA, and I've gone with the Chainsaw Queen, and I was the first Chainsaw Queen. And I know there's one girl, which I'm actually really good friends with her now, but I came up with the Dahlia gimmick in 11 and the Chainsaw Queen in December of 16. And after me, I think there's just one, like I said, I'm friends with her, so no heat. But this girl in California is doing a Chainsaw Queen gimmick, but her and I are pals, and I think she started that in 19, so after me. But I respect that, and I think it's cool, and we could do something together. But yeah, if the question is the chainsaw real? Yes, it is. Will it be on those shows? Yes, it will be.
You run a chain on it when you run it?
For promos only.
Okay. I was going to say, yeah, something tells me that probably comes off from time to time, but you know.
Are we going to expose the business, sir?
Yeah. Well, no, it's, when I was a plumber, I used a chainsaw quite a bit, so I'm pretty familiar with how accidental stuff can happen with them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you dance with the devil, you're going to get burned, but it's not, I have had proper training, so no worries there. So, I'm not some little dainty little girl.
Sure. Well, so I got to ask then, I mean, obviously you guys, if you're doing Ed Gein and Black Dahlia, Elizabeth Short kind of inspired characters.
Uh-huh.
Now, I've actually talked to Nate before, a couple of years ago, before I entered my other show, Geekish Cast. I was going to have him on, and I think we were talking about doing it all kayfabe too, if I remember right. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm a big horror guy myself, so I guess my first question would be, what is your favorite horror movie, and why is it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
That is so funny. Yeah, so a lot of people, me who I am today, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just like, it did something that a lot of other horror films hadn't done to date, because we have all the classic, like the monsters, and then me being the theater nerd I am, I truly, my answer to the question would be Nosferatus. Like, I love black and white films. I love to study old German films.
Film, yeah.
There you go. There's the terminology I was looking for. So I absolutely adore Nosferatus and all the classics. But with that being said, with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it did something that no one had done before, and I like the guerrilla style film that they did, and I find it so fascinating, the history behind it. Like, supposedly they got their money from the mafia, and that's why all the actors didn't get paid properly. Like who paid for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre to be made, because no one believed in it at the time to make this film. And then to this day, when I lived in Texas, I lived in Dallas and then San Antonio, and there's motherfuckers out there that believe it was real. Like, people that are born and raised in Texas believe that it actually happened. And I'm like, guys, Ed Gein, baby, Ed Gein in another state. And I had people trying to persuade me, no, it really happened. And it's like, guys, you're from Texas, you're embarrassing yourself. But I just think it's the thrill of the unknown, like from cannibalism to just not only torturing and mutilating another human being, but to actually wear their flesh in the ultimate disrespect, or to maybe when people like do cannibalistic things and they feel like they absorb certain things. I find that absolutely morbid and fascinating. And then with the Elizabeth Short story, when I lived in LA, I found the spot where her body was found. It's not a park anymore. It's an actual subdivision. And I laid down to where they found her body. And as morbid as that sounds, like, I just felt really connected with Elizabeth. And I think she gets a bad rep where everyone depicts her in American Horror Story and all these other Hollywood movies. They depict her as a whore, a slut, and like she would have done anything to have been famous. And I'm like, no, I think that she was a struggling actress that got in a snuff film or something. I think someone used and abused that poor little girl, and she got in a freaking snuff film and got killed. That's what I think happened to her. And now she's depicted as some like promiscuous prostitute that got what she deserved.
Every time she's ever been written in anything, they invent a character for her. It's not actually based on her, and that's kind of become an issue with her.
it breaks my heart for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely respect Elizabeth Short. I respect the character of the Black Dahlia, and it's kind of like my gimmick before Harley Quinn was such a big thing. Like, I genuinely like the multi-personality schizophrenic disorder, and I always portrayed myself as more of Elizabeth, like old Hollywood. But then you got a psychopathic or like serial killer that, like, I was a murder victim, but now I'm kind of like back from the dead, if you will, and I'm wreaking havoc on everyone. So that's definitely my whole gimmick.
Okay, so
you and that fucking Killbilly of yours.
Yeah.
I was going to ask.
Nate's a Killbilly. Oh well, no, I was just Well, no, I was sitting there thinking you was talking about eating flesh, and I was sitting there about thinking eating ass. I don't know.
Wrong show, Bobby. It's the wrong show, man. That's my show.
Yeah, no. It's all very.
Doing that, Bobby.
No, it's all. No, I was just like, you're just getting. I had no idea about how deeply you're taking this character. I really respect that. I'm glad you're. Yeah. That's why we have you on the show. Because
Thanks,
I know
Bobby.
it's been a hot minute since and so. So anyway, I respect that you're doing this, and I said Nate the Killbilly because he's also from Kentucky, and he's out
he
there
is from
like
Kentucky.
I told you. Yeah,
yes,
get the fuck out of here and get some training,
Yeah,
and,
with Nathaniel being from Kentucky, like, he just wanted to, like, one thing he noticed, like, he's a small town guy from Kentucky, and he has a southern accent, and everywhere he's gone, it was always pointed out about his accent, so he was always like, well, I mean, being around the Samoans and the Samoan dynasty, like, everyone had such a gimmick. Like I said, they try to put a Native American gimmick on me. They had an Asian guy, and they put a Chinese stereotype gimmick on him. They're all about culture there, and and that really inspired Nathaniel to do, like, well, what do people call people from Kentucky? Hillbillies. And then Nathaniel's always like the wrong turn stories, and what is all the stereotypes of Kentucky, like from incest to cannibals to, and he's like, fuck it, that's my gimmick, like, screw the rock star, everyone does rock stars. And I mean, Nathaniel started the rock star gimmick, and next to WWE, not even a month later, had the 3-man band happen. So Nate's like, everyone has done the rock star and seen the rock star, so how about instead of just the hillbilly, I'm the Killbilly? And it's like, a serial killer, urban legend. Like, it's just like, it's one of those things where you want to question, is this guy really a cannibal?
No. And so, and I know you all have went to Area 51, and you also visited the Mothman up in West Virginia. So I know you're into all this stuff, and you're tying all this into your character, and I really dig it a lot. Let's just take a step back real quickly. So you did all this. You're out there paying your dues. I've read your story about paying your dues and this and that. But then the story takes a small turn here. I guess it could be a large turn, thus not taking some bookings. You had a couple injuries, and you had to get through that. And now you're through your injuries, and you're starting on your way back from recovery, and this thing's going to happen for you, right?
Right.
This is where we're at now. So I guess tell us about your foot injury, or your actually both feet, I guess.
Yeah, both feet. Okay, so basically I had a thing in my feet called plantar fasciitis. I've had it my whole life, and as some people, it normally happens to, like, how do I say this? Like, construction workers, like manly jobs where you're on hard concrete, or just elderly. Some people have things called bone spurs, and if you've ever had a callus, like when you work out and you get calluses on your hands, or even on your big toe or something rubbing on your shoe, like the calluses on your skin, bone spurs are basically of the bone. So a lot of people have those, and it causes inflammation of your muscles down there. They, like, rub, and I don't have those. So I just want to make that very clear, because every time I say plantar fasciitis, everyone thinks I have bone spurs. I don't. I didn't. I don't. And I don't. It's something you're born with, and that's not the case. But I do have, I have suffered plantar fasciitis for like 15 years of my life. And basically the muscles inside my feet naturally would swell and inflame, and it would cause the worst pain you could imagine. And it got really bad in LA. I was sleeping out of my vehicle in the daytime, man. I was doing a physical manual labor job, like everyone looks down on Walmart and thinks that we just greet people and dick around. But no, I did the unloading the semi truck. I was like the only female that did that. I got challenged a lot in LA with that. A lot of sexism happened. A lot of guys are like, oh, the girl doesn't need to be back here. I had a lot of weird shit said to me, and I always outlifted the guys. Like, if a guy put one case of water over his shoulder, I put one case of water on both shoulders. Like, I would carry 2 waters just to prove to people that I was worthy. And it was a little dramatic of my, like, 20-something-year-old ass to do that, but I would always try to outlift the guys back there to prove that I belonged. And I was suffering plantar fasciitis at the time too, so just imagine both your feet just hurting like a bitch. And so
I'm going to cut in here real quick. I have plantar fasciitis.
Now, do you have bone spurs?
No,
what did your doctor say?
Nope, it's just the tendon in the back. It's literally that your foot flattens out, exposes that nerve, and that tendon gets fucked up. And
yeah, so you understand. Is it in one foot or both?
Both. And when I first got it, I wanted to cut my fucking feet off.
Yes. Now, does it inflame just like once a month, or does it happen a lot?
I wear shoes with really, really, really high arch supports now. I would say the brand, but I don't want people to think that I'm fucking shit.
Well, that shit's expensive though, man.
Well, so check out this brand called Vionics. They're on Amazon. I have picked up sneakers for $50 or $60 a pair. I get Chelsea boots from them for $200 a pair. I've been wearing them for about 7 years now. And
that's awesome.
For the most part, mine is under control. But I know exactly what you mean, because you wake up in the middle of the night and your fucking feet, you don't know what's wrong with them. They're just killing you. You're driving your car and it goes all the way up your shin, you know.
Yeah. So you get it. The crazy thing, though, another point I want to make is not only did I have that, I don't anymore. I had the release surgery. So that's one thing that really, that's the one thing that really, not saying you were doing that, but that was the one thing that pisses me off the most is the suffering and pain I've had in a wheelchair. And everyone's like, oh, I have fasciitis. It's like, bitch, I had that for 15 years. Game over. I don't have that anymore. This is on the next level shit. I had my muscle released. And then everyone shuts up. And I'm just like, guys, I don't have fasciitis anymore. The muscle's not there anymore, baby. and because I think it's a pride thing, because everyone's like, oh, I have fasciitis, or my grandma has bone spurs. It's like, I don't have bone spurs. And then when people are like, oh, I have fasciitis and I'm not in a wheelchair, it's like, bitch, it was the surgery that put me in a wheelchair. It's like so many people judge me for being in a wheelchair for so long, and it's like, no, it was the recovery of the surgery that did it.
I hate that kind of comparison too. Oh, I have this and I'm not, I have X and I'm not Y, and I'm thinking, fuck, man.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, you're valid in your pain. You're valid, but don't fucking come over to my level. It's like with Nathaniel. Nathaniel shattered his clavicle in 3 places and has a metal plate in there. And you know how many cocksuckers walk up to Nate and it's like, oh yeah, I broke my collarbone once and I was out for 3 weeks. It's like, bitch, you just compared like literally a shattered clavicle to one break. It's like, how could you do that? And it's like a dick measuring contest with so many people, and it's like, your pain is valid, but don't compare yourself to me.
Yeah, look, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've fallen off of a ladder, but when I was at a job site one time when I was young, a 19-year-old kid fell off the second rung, broke his neck, and died right there.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so I mean, you can take whatever fucking injury you want. What happens to you is not what happened to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, you get my fasciitis pain, right? Okay. So with that pain that I was sleeping in a vehicle in the hot sun for 7 months. I was doing a manual labor job. I wasn't dicking around at Walmart. I unloaded semi-trucks. And then I went to kill it in the gym. I was trying to be a bodybuilder. Then I went and I wrestled for 3 hours a day and trained. And they thought it was funny to make you do 600 squats every day. They thought it was funny to blow you up before we even started training. So I did that, and my pain got worse and worse. So my fasciitis pain, it would last, like, maybe it would hit once a month, and then it would go away within like 2 days, maybe a week. The pain would not go away. When I say it was every single day, it was every single day, and I was not resting it. I was ignoring the fasciitis pain in both my feet. I was ignoring it. And one day, when I was wrestling and I was thrown over the top rope, and instead of landing on the apron, instead of landing in the ring, I landed on the outside of the ring on the concrete, and I heard 2 pops in my feet.
Ugh,
and
geez.
The swelling was so bad that when I slammed down on the concrete, I tore my ligaments. And my goofy ass ignored it for 2 months. I continued. doing my manual labor job, going to the gym, wrestling, I walked around with torn ligaments. And the best way to explain it is your ligament is like a celery stick. And you know all those multiple different layers of like little hairs? Mm-hmm. Every single day, because I did not rest, I kept on micro tears, just kept on re-tearing my feet for 2 months out in LA because I was so fucking stupid and stubborn to say I was hurt. I would pull into the ER right there in Los Angeles and I would cry in my vehicle because I had no medical insurance, and I would just hyperventilate and cry and not know what to do because I did not go into the ER and have them help me. And I would just sit there, cry for a couple hours, and then pull away and go and wrestle at Rikishi's. Like, that was my life. And it just gives me anxiety. I called you, Bobby. I was going to say,
during this time, we were speaking about once or twice a month, you'd call me or text, or you say, hey, are you around, because of the time difference. And sometimes, it'd be like 7 o'clock and it'd be 10 o'clock my time, and I knew the difference there. And I'd be like, oh, man, shit, she's just going to the gym, or she has to go to work later on. Or then there was a couple of times we'd be speaking like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You're just like, I haven't even been asleep yet, and I've been doing this and this and this,
Yeah.
And then I didn't know. I knew the injury was serious, but I didn't know how serious it was. But I knew you was also busting your ass doing that manual labor job, because you told me about that. But so for anyone out there, I know we've got a lot of different listeners out there, and we have several from the FTC that I'm involved with over there. The people, like Tracy Smothers used to say, the struggle is real. People make sacrifices for this business, and I think your story is just fascinating to know what you've done thus far. And now here's the thing. So a comeback, and you've had this setback, rather, is going to set the stage for the comeback. So now you got the new gimmick, you got the Scream Queen, you got the chainsaw gimmicks. Y'all got some killer outfits, man. The masks are killer, great designs and all that. So what's next on the horizon, man? You going to get your ass out there and get some bookings? You come back here, get some training. When we going to see you on TV? I mean, what? So what direction do you go to? What direction is next for you? And also to kill Billy Nate.
Right.
What's the next?
Good question. Good question, Bobby. Yeah. So, just to summarize, I've been out for 4 years. I had to the doctors do not do the surgery, the release surgery, when you tear ligaments immediately, because it's the bottom of your feet. And to summarize, it took me 2.5 years in a wheelchair. The first year to try to naturally heal it with steroid shots directly in your feet. And the hard cast, so I couldn't walk for a year. Then they did the release surgery, and I couldn't walk for a year after that. And then I taught myself, 19 and 20, I taught myself how to walk again. And 20 and 21, I started losing my bed rest weight. I put on, not many people know this, I put on 130 pounds in that wheelchair. And all this past year, I lost 100 pounds. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So after 4 years of wheelchair surgeries, teaching myself how to walk again, which was the worst pain you could ever imagine. I started from 30 minutes at the gym, like I would just stay there, to by the end of the year, I was staying in the gym for 10 hours. And I would just tell Nate, leave me, abandon me at the gym. Like, I have to walk. I wasn't bodybuilding. I wasn't going crazy. I was just walking for 10 hours at the gym. And once I did all this and I recovered, now I've lost 100 pounds and I'm about to lose the other pesky 30 that I put on. My goal is to be medically cleared this summer, which you guys are hearing it first. I haven't announced it yet, but I'm going to go to my foot specialist and I am going to get medically cleared to wrestle. And now I'm not going to be an idiot and be like, okay, I'm going to get all these bookings, all the people in my DMs that want to book me in Australia. This one guy wants to book me in England. I'm not, dude, it's cool that people want to book me, but I'm not going to just jump the gun and get booked immediately. I just taught myself how to freaking walk again, bro. Like, I just learned how to walk, and I'm just now medically cleared to weight lift. I'm not going to go in a ring and, like, break my arm or something or hurt another person. So what I'm going to do, focus on losing this extra pesky 30 pounds so I can be, as I call it, TV ready. I want there to be not an unflattering shot of me. You know what I mean? Like, if I bend over, get in the awkward positions wrestling, I want to look hot as fuck. I'm not going to be chubby, which no body shame. People can look however they want.
No body shame.
It's my preference. So
let me ask you this: looking hot as fuck. Hold on a second here. Let's get you a little plug in here. Tell them you have an OnlyFans page. Right.
I do have an OnlyFans
Let our fans know about that, and because I only see your pictures on Twitter, and I know you've got Instagram, I know you got Snapchat, all those different things. But tell us about your OnlyFans, where people can maybe see how unflattering and sexy your ass is. How about that? And I mean that because we're friends. You know how I'm going to talk to you. You know, me and you just talk.
I love it.
We're just talking. Yeah, guys, go check her out, man. Go give my girl some love, okay? And Nate don't get mad when I say this is my girl Paige. He likes that too, because I know you're his girl. Thing is, we're trying to get you some publicity out here, So tell them where they can find you out on the OnlyFans, man, and tell us about that page.
Yeah, okay, so if you go to any one of my social medias, whether it's Facebook makes you have a last name, so I have a Monroe, Marilyn Monroe on there, so it's Dahlia Monroe on Facebook, or Instagram, The Black Dahlia, or Twitter, The Black Dahlia. And if you go to their one of those social media sites, I have the link in all my bios, and it's just, Dahlia, The Black Dahlia, on OnlyFans, and it's just such a great, think Patreon, but better, think going to a wrestling show and seeing a gimmick table, but this is the virtual, I call it my virtual reality gimmick table, and a lot of fans request me to do things on there, and you can get VIPs, but basically it's just exclusive access to things that you're not going to see on Instagram or Twitter. And like I said, a lot of fans, a lot of men and women on there request, hey, can you do such and such in a video for me? And I can send it out in a VIP, and everyone can have access to that. But you'll see exclusive content that's not on any other platform. And I highly recommend going to support me, a struggling artist, and I really appreciate it. It's only $10.
Yeah. $10. She's a model, actress, and professional wrestling, man. Paige, listen, I wish you nothing but continued success in your career. Jeremy, you have any more questions before we go into some other little chit-chat here real quickly? Because I know we have a couple of house cleaning things. We have to talk about my books. I got to talk about some appearances. And Paige, just loved hearing your story. Want to continue to stay on the line with us as we do a couple other things. Yeah. Jeremy, you got any other remarks or questions?
There was a couple of remarks I want to make about her time in Los Angeles. When people in Los Angeles say they drove for an hour, most people from outside California need to realize we're usually talking about a quarter of a mile in an hour.
I worked at the Santa Clarita Walmart, and the Planet Fitness was right there next to Burbank Airport. So what is that, a 15-mile distance? Yes. And it took me an hour at 7 a.m. leaving work.
Yeah. Los Angeles is the only place I've ever been where you can be in a traffic jam at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then the other thing is, look, so Walmart is owned by the 6 richest people in the country or whatever, okay? And all these people that work there always seem to need help, like government assistance or other things, or can't get by on certain things. That pisses me off. Yeah. But we're talking about somebody living in their car in Los Angeles. You also, if you're outside of this area, you need to realize that a cardboard box on the side of the road is about $6 million in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Oh, I looked on Craigslist, and just to not even have your own room, because a lot of people have like 3-bedroom apartments and people rent rooms just for someone's couch, not even a room, on Craigslist was $500 a month.
Yes. That is not unusual.
Oh, trust me. Yeah. Guys, everyone listening, if you guys think I did it for fun, I didn't sleep out of my vehicle in the daytime for fun. I didn't shit and piss in cups for fun. I didn't spend $100 on vitamins to have them melt in the hot sun and be fucked out of vitamins for a month. Shitting and pissing in cups is not a dream of mine, but I did it for wrestling.
Yeah. And I remember speaking with you about that, and I was like, can't you just get a room off someone? You're like, Bobby, this one guy's like wanting to rent us a closet space, and it's like $1,500. And I was like, are you shitting me? You're like, no, I'm telling you, this is why we're doing this. So, but hey.
Oh, yeah, and then school was retarded as well. So just to start, you had to do a down payment of $1,000, and so times that by 2, because it's Nate and I, so $2,000 to start. And then first month's rent was going to be like $300. It's $300 a month to go to school out there, and I had them wiggle it down because it was like $289, so basically $300. And I was like, hey guys, can you make rent or can you make school payments only $200 a month? And they did that for me. So it was 200 for me, 200 for Nate. So it was 400 a month to go to school out there. My dumbass, where I was sleeping on my vehicle, was like, listen, I'm going to make double school payments a month so I can get this out of the way, and then maybe I can actually rent an apartment or rent a room. And so in 6 months I could have school paid off. So my goofy ass paid $800 a month to go to school at Rikishi's. $800 a freaking month. And I just, by the time 7 months rolled around, I had torn ligaments.
Fuck's sakes.
Bobby, I know. It's crazy.
Bobby, do you have your notebook nearby?
Yes.
Just put a note down there that I want you and I to talk about wrestling schools and
Yeah, you shot me an email or a DM about that, and I was probably a few beers deep.
Sure.
That was,
I do remember that.
That was Rikishi's ratings, which I paid double, so it would only have been $300 a month, and I paid $400. And that was for two, and then $1,000 down payment. Now with Funaki, it was $300 down payment instead of $1,000. And then each time you went to train with him, like I said, it was Monday through Saturday. He charged $25 a day per person. But because we were continuing going, he brought it down from 25. I think it was just 20. So 20 times 2, and then times that. So that's 40 a day. Times that by 6, and that's how much Nate and I paid to train under Funaki. And people wonder why I was homeless. Like, come on.
Well, speaking of schools, I just want to say the Art of Grappling School will be taking new students real soon in Ironton, Ohio. Jillian Hall and myself are the trainers there. Those prices that she's mentioned are outrageous. I'm sure the owners can work you out a deal if anyone wants to come down here and train, whether it be for a day or for a month or for a career. It just depends. They had a tremendous show last night at the Rone Theater over in Ironton, Ohio. We'll be back over there. Yeah, you caught that, Jeremy. Yep. We'll be back over there in a couple months. We have a couple student shows coming up. I'll promote those later on. Right now, I want to... August the 7th, I saw my Shane Storm last night. My main man, Shane Storm, him and I got together. We compared notes. I'm going to be managing him against Jerry the King Lawler in the Bash at Beckley, at the Beckley National Guard Armory. Hell, that might be... the promoter right now is texting me, telling me what the finish is. I don't know. I'm just saying. But no, since I've taken this booking, as we've known, I talked to Shane about this last night, we got to come up with a plan because Dennis Condry's coming in as the enforcer for this match. So you got Jerry the King Lawler, my main man, Shane Storm. I'm going to be in his corner, blazing Bobby Blaze, and you got the legendary Dennis Condry, kind of being the enforcer of the match here. Also, all kinds of top talent. Too many people to list. Just go to the ASW site. That's Saturday, August 7th. I know I got several people traveling to Beckley, West Virginia with me. Also, Saturday, September, I'm not even August the 14th, I'm at the Time Warp at the Ashland Town Center. It's basically back to school with Bobby Blaze. They just had Hacksaw Jim Duggan down there, D'Lo Brown, Bob Orton Jr., Tony Atlas. They got a couple more names coming. I'm not going to mention them right now because I haven't made them public yet, but they've made mine public. I will be there at the Time Warp at the Ashland Town Center signing autographed pictures and also books. And speaking of books, real quickly, if you go to tinyurl.com/blazebook1, that'll take you to the Amazon site to get Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boostful Travel. If you go to tinyurl.com/blazebook2, that'll take you to, I kicked that onto the education of a wrestler. Just go to those two, get your copy of one of my books, helps to support the show. Jeremy gets a little bit of money put in the Amazon account. I sell a book, I smile. You read the book, you go away happy, and hopefully leave us all a positive, fair and honest review on the books as well as on our podcast. And I want to say once again, thank you, Paige. Thanks for being on our podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Bobby.
We got some cars out there where you're at, honey. I hear them.
Yes, I'm sitting in my vehicle outside the gym. I'm sorry. Someone was trying to show off. You need to
get there and get your pump on. Yeah, get there and get your pump on. Jeremy, what else we got? Paige, you want to plug anything else? I know you're at Black_Dyla47 on Twitter. You can find me at Bobby Blaze 744. Find Jeremy at The Geekish Cast, or follow our joint account at Bell to Bell Blaze. All those on Twitter. Give out the information while you got a chance. Someone cut me off on being a heel.
Yeah, so Dahlia, Paige, however you'd like to be addressed, go ahead and give us your social media addresses again.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, you guys can find me on Twitter, on Instagram as the Black Dahlia. I believe it's like Black Dahlia _47. And then you can find me on Facebook as Dahlia Monroe. And then, of course, OnlyFans is my other platform I'm on. So it'd mean a lot if people would just subscribe. I always respond to DMs on there. Like, a lot of DMs can get lost on Facebook and stuff. So, like, on OnlyFans, I always respond. So I look forward to hearing from everyone on there.
Fantastic. All right. Yeah, guys, go check it out. And if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby, let's go ahead and hit the 2 bad pieces of news from this week.
Okay, real quickly here from July 7th, we lost a wrestler, another professional wrestler, another professional brother. That was Chris Youngblood, man. And he was the son of Rocky Romero, brothers to Mark and Jay. You may remember from WCCW, or also even WWC in Puerto Rico, Global Wrestling, USWA, or as from his time as Pronto with Devastation Inc. And I think it was Skandar Akbar of that correctly. He's a Native American, is what he portrayed as on there, because they played it up. It was in their blood, no pun intended. But Jay passed away, I think, at the age of 57 or 58. I can't remember when his birthday was, Jeremy, on there. I know he's relatively, young in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, that was Chris Youngblood. May rest in peace. Also, as many know, it's no surprise now, and we're getting the news late just due to our recording time. This hit us earlier this week, or we spoke about a couple people last week. Sadly, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff left this world on July 12th at the age of 71 after having some major health issues. His son Travis posted online a picture of how he didn't look too well just a couple of weeks ago. He was needing some, they got him home, they got him cleaned up, and obviously saddened in his passing, but I think he got to pass away with some dignity. He got his hair cut, got him shaved, and actually, it showed him sitting at I think his son's home, having a non-alcoholic beer, but he was shaved and had, he looked good, than a different, where they showed him a picture of him having dementia. Now, his son has since taken that video down. He had to put that in there so his father gets some help, apparently, because he was left, I don't want to, speak out of school, but apparently some things happened with the health insurance or whoever was taking care of him. There's some allegations going either way. We won't get into that, but the fact is, Paul Orndorff, one of the greatest bodies of all time in professional wrestling. The Brandon Bull played football at the University of Tampa. Had a cup of coffee, I think, in Green Bay and also New Orleans before he got into professional wrestling. I think he played football in Tampa as well. Bandits, I can't. Anyway, nonetheless, Mr. Intensity had that intensity. Also, WrestleMania #1. He worked in the old Florida territory, worked his way up through Crockett Promotions, all the way to WrestleMania, and then I personally got to know Mr. Wonderful in the early '90s when I was working with Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Done a few shots with him down in Georgia when he had some knee surgery, and I filled in for him on some shows. Got to know him a little bit, and then when I was told with Kevin Sullivan, approached him about a job, he said, call Paul on Monday, and I called Paul Orndorff on that Monday. And I'll tell you this, every time I spoke with him, Paul Orndorff was a good man. He was a straight shooter. If he told you something, he meant it. He was impeccable with his word, which I respect. I spoke to him a couple of times about my deal there that I had. I went into the office. We spoke as men, as Arn would say, we're just two gentlemen discussing business, Bobby, and I always had that with Paul Orndorff, man. And, you hate to see some of these guys, diminishing their health as they get a little bit older and certain things happen, CTE and just whatever, I don't know what to say about that is just that I know when I dealt with him in his prime, that I dealt with a real man, a real human being, and I had nothing but respect for Paul and the way he treated me and talked to me. And the world needs more Paul Orndorff as far as when they do this business, because he was straight up and honest, and that's hard to find, that someone's going to tell you, hey, this is where I think you're at, kid. And he sit across the desk and tell me, this is where you're at right now, where are you going to go next, And that's that. Rest in peace, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. I'm quit rambling, Jeremy.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and make a comment real quick. Chris Youngblood was only 55. So he was even younger than I was thinking. Bobby, I got to say, Paul Orndorff was the first heel that I cheered for.
Yes, you told me that big heel turn. And I was going to say the only thing else I want to say about that, and I know that was a big deal for you, Paul Orndorff. And in my book, that second book, I talk about the top 10 moves. I put the pile driver as number one for the most devastating move, and I mentioned in there Paul Orndorff. He had the jumping pile driver. He had that extra ump into it. Beautiful pile driver, man, that he would do.
Yeah, so, his pile driver looked like it would kill you. Not only would it break your neck and give you cancer, it'd just kill you on the spot.
Yeah.
Something my brother reminded me. Well, he didn't remind me of directly. He wrote on Facebook about Paul Orndorff and that heel turn on Hogan. Paul Orndorff used I Am a Real American for his entrance music for the next 6 months.
I didn't know that, or I forgot it won.
Yeah. That was pretty badass. Now, that guy was a badass. If you want to hear how bad of an ass he was, go find the story about him and Vader in the shower.
We've got that on our YouTube channel. tinyurl.com/BBBB video. Look for legitimate tough guys. And Paul Orndorff, we listed as I think at number 8, but he has, I think, 235,000 views on our YouTube page, Jeremy.
Yeah.
So it's our most popular YouTube video out there, and I imagine it's going to get a lot of hits this week too, just to let you know. But yeah, check that out. Check out the stories behind the scene of Paul Orndorff and Big Van Vader. My funniest story, and I wrote it in a book about Brad Armstrong. Now we ended on this, let you two finish it up. So we're in Orlando, Florida, Universal Studios. I love this. You got about 150 guys out there in a big old studio, man, going to shoot TV all day. So every morning they put the whiteboard up and they have 5 different shows. Every show starts an hour apart with a half an hour break in between. So you got guys from Mexico, Japan, then you got all the guys, working WCW, a lot of guys, Florida guys, the Minnesota crew, you got the Southern White Trash crew. I don't know, I'm just down there, what can I say, But anyway, so every morning they gather together, they put the board up, and they put the names in there, who's wrestling who for the next 5, tapings of that day. So if you know the story about Big Van Vader telling Paul to basically screw off, and then they had to dispute, blah, 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 go check it out, because he's a tough guy. So everyone's crowding around. Orndorff comes in there and goes, hey guys, let me get your attention. And man, you got like 150 people in this room. Like I said, it's a big studio and echoes and all that. And out of nowhere, this little voice says, "Fuck you, Paul!" And Orndorff just keeps walking to the center of the ring, or center of the room rather. And without even batting an hour looking up, he goes, "I know that's you, Armstrong," because it just cracked up the room kind of like you popped just now. Brad Armstrong bent down and gave that Big Van Vader voice, went, "Fuck you, Paul." And when he did, it just broke the ice. We'd been on probably 7, usually went for like 10 or 12 days. So we'd been there 5 or 6 days, maybe 7. And then Brad just broke the ice that morning. People sitting around having coffee or hungover or just getting in or whatever it is, man, for these tapings. And, Brad saying that, and Paul just not even breaking stride going, he just says something like, "That damn Brad Armstrong," and everyone just pops, and it starts our morning off, so it kind of gave us a bit of energy to start that particular day. Yeah. So, Paul, rest in peace. Brad, rest in peace. Fuck you, Paul. Pretty good funny story there. But anyway, get us out of here. Paige, thank you. I love you, sweetheart. I'll talk to you soon. Jeremy, take us out of here.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. It has been our pleasure to put the show on and your pleasure to listen. For the late Tex Johnson, myself, Professor Jeremy Vilmer, the lovely and talented Black Dahlia, and Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, Double B, Bobby Blaze. Bye-bye, everybody.